Hello, I'm Indupriya. Yesterday I uploaded a video, but it actually had some error or technical issue. Due to that, it is not processing, so it's not getting uploaded. So today I'll be reading the same chapter which I wanted to say you guys yesterday. So I'll read it. Lord Krishna descends specifically to re-establish the real purpose of life when man forgets the purpose. Even then, out of many human beings who awaken, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position, and for him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Actually, we are all swallowed by the tigress of nescience, but the Lord is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. To this end, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna his student. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. But Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problems of life so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of future generations of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. Then man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life. The subject of Bhagavad Gita entails the comprehension of five basic truths. First of all, the science of God is explained, and then the constitution position of the living entities, Jivas. There is Ishvara, which means the controller, and there are Jivas, the living entities, which are controlled. If a living entity says that he is not controlled but that he is free, then he is insane. The living being is controlled in every aspect and every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter deals with the Ishvara, the supreme controller, and the Jivas, the controlled entities. Prakriti, also called as material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe or the manifestation of material nature, and karma, the activities, are also discussed. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn that God is what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, how it is controlled by time, and what the activities of the human entities are. Out of these five basic subject matters, in Bhagavad Gita, it is established that the Supreme Godhead or Krishna or Brahman or the Supreme Controller or Paramatma, you may use whatever name you like, it is the greatest of all. The living beings are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, the Lord has control over the universal affairs of material nature, as will be explained in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Material nature is not independent. She is acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord. As Lord Krishna says, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Sarasaram. This material nature is working under my direction. When we see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that behind this cosmic manifestation there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It is childish not to consider the controller. For instance, a child may think that an automobile is quite wonderful to be able to run without a horse or other animal pulling it. But a sane man knows the nature of the automobile's engineering arrangement. He always knows that behind the machinery there is a man, a driver. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the driver under whose direction everything is working. Now, the Jivas or the living entities have been accepted by the Lord, as we will note in the later chapters, as his parts and parcels. A particle of gold is also gold. A drop of water from the ocean is also salty. And similarly, we are the living entities, being part and parcel of the Supreme Controller. Ishvara or Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna, have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord in minute quality. Because we are minute Ishvaras, subordinate Ishvaras, we are trying to control nature. As presently, we are trying to control space or planets, And this tendency to control is there because it is in Krishna. But although we have a tendency to lord it over material nature, we should know that we are not the supreme controller. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So this is enough for today. What they are trying to say here is that Lord Krishna, he came on the earth to actually say what is the real purpose for man. Firstly, Lord Krishna said Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. Then slowly it came to other people and the value of the Vedic Puranas reduced. Because of that, Lord Krishna, he wanted to say this again to Arjuna. Actually, they also mention not only this, that it is decided by God. There are three gods. They are also called as Mupperum Devargal in Tamil. If I have to explain it well, it means that three supreme gods, which means Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma. Because through Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma came. So in the same way, they three are the main three gods who are worshipped mainly. And it is under them how the world is controlled. Even if one is not there, the other two can control the world. But they mainly need this one. So in the same way, because of the generation changes, for those generation they wanted a different Gita. So for our generation, which is also called as Kali Yuga, they needed a different rules and regulations. That's why Lord Krishna came back to earth to say the purpose of life for human beings, how we can live in this generation. And also God says that we are swallowed by the tigress of nescience, which means we are swallowed by the material nature. For example, this is nothing but everyone is into I want to earn more, I want to be the richest, I want to have that, I want to have this body is mine, that person is mine, that is mine, this is mine. This is material. Nothing belongs to us. Once our soul leaves our body, even our body is not ours. That is what God is trying to say. So, if some person is able to come out of this thought that nothing is mine, everything belongs to God, that is when a person can attain God and he can reach God. And Lord Krishna spoke the whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So, Lord Krishna spoke everything to Arjuna in the battlefield. But why did Lord Krishna speak to Arjuna everything? Because Arjuna was one of the most intelligent, plus he was following the rules and regulation. He was one of the person who had the acceptance of everything that is said in Bhagavad Gita. But still, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was brought into a mind of ignorance. He was not having the mind of ignorance, but in the battlefield, he was brought of the mind of ignorance so that he will question Lord Krishna about the problems of life, so that God could say Arjuna that these are the things how you have to lead your life. So that is the mission of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita have 5 basic truths. One is the Ishvara, the Jiva, Prakriti, time and karma. So Ishvara is nothing but the controller. I actually want to say something here. They mention separately as Ishvara, Brahman, Vishnu, which they themselves say without saying that there are 3 gods, 3 main gods. They just want to say you that they just want to say that even if you think of one particular person out of these 3, you can reach them, you can have mukti in your life. Without having interest in any material thing, just trust in God, just be devoted to Him, and you will attain God once your soul is out of your body. This is what it means. So, here there are 5 signs. So, here there are 5 truths of life. One is Ishvara, who is a controller, and Jivas are us living entities. So, Ishvara is controlling us, and we live in the Prakriti, who is actually Parvati. And time, obviously, as time passes, we grow old, which shows that we are material in nature. We are not the main people, we are not the main controller. And once our body is lost, we cannot have one more life from the same body. We cannot bring that body back to life. We need a different body for the life. So time says that once gone is gone. So utilize the time. and then karma. Karma can be both good as well as bad. It's not always karma is bad. If you do good, good will come to you. If you do bad, bad will come to you. This is called karma. So, if a person is thinking that I am the controller, I am the Ishvara, then there can be no foolish person than him, because Lord Krishna also says here that the main supreme controller is us, the three gods. Because why I am saying the three god is because supreme god or Krishna or Brahma or the supreme controller Paramatma. Paramatma is Lord Shiva, Brahman is Brahma, Krishna is Vishnu. So they have mentioned all the three gods, but they just want to mention the whole Gita as Krishna so that we don't get confused. Also, they say that we are the supreme controller. If someone is thinking that they are the supreme controller, he can be the most foolish one, because the supreme controller means that person is also thinking that everything on this earth is mine. Point is, it's not only the earth, there are universes, so many universes, and everything is controlled by them three. So, which means we are just the smallest controller and they are the bigger controller. And the reason we are able to go to space, that is because we have the quality of God, because we are just a part of them. That is why they are mentioning here that we are his parts and parcel in the sense I am having my body and I have each cell of mine with different qualities, which means they all belong to me, but each one have different quality. My heart has a separate work, my liver has a separate work, my kidney has a separate work. In the same way, God has sent each of us for different reasons and different work. That is why we are here. And in this earth, which is not actually something we can live happily, that is why we need mukti, which means if we are coming out of all this maya, which is all material in nature, that is when we can go to God. That is when we can completely be free from this world, which is completely maya. That is what God is trying to say. So, even though if a person is able to control force and everything, you can reach only the moon, Mars, and everything, but you can't reach the whole universe. In the same way, but God can do everything, God can be anywhere and everywhere. So, if we trust in God, if we believe that He is the one, and if we are always devoted with Him, there is no one on this earth who can stop us from reaching God. And also, God says that for us to understand, if an automobile is running or if a cart wheel is running, the reason is either a person is rotating it, or a motor mechanism is happening there, or there is a horse or some cow or donkey is pulling it. That is why it is running. So, a man who has knowledge, this person will understand the reality that it is not controlled by us, but there is a force that is acting on it. That's why it is working. In the same way, everything on this earth is working because of God. So, I have read this in my biology textbook. There was an experiment done. They tried to create a new life, but until now, no one was able to create a new life just from the scratch. So, it's like you can create a body, you can create a flesh, you can create a microorganism, but still you can't give a life to that organism. This is what is found, and you can create something of the same component as us, but giving life to us is not possible. This is actually for us to understand. So no one should think that I am the God, I am the controller. No, it is God who is the controller. That's why once my soul leaves my body, God, if He thinks He can give me back the life, or else He'll put me in some other body. In the same way, if I am being nice, if I am being devoted, if I am able to follow every dharma, then I can reach God. And also, God says that we are mini Ishvaras, also called as minute Ishvaras, which means God is the supreme Ishvara. We are the smaller Ishwaras. That's why we have the tendency to control things on this earth. Because He is able to control so many things, that is why we have the power to control at least smaller things in our life. This is all explained in Bhagavad Gita. And there is also this thing, Supreme Controller, Ishvara, Bhagwan. They are mainly mentioning Lord Shiva, but They don't want to say in Bhagavad Gita as Lord Shiva because it's completely said by Lord Krishna. So we have to accept them three. And even if you think of one person out of these three, you can reach Mukti. You don't need this Maya, you just need the real thing. The real thing is the Supreme Controller, the God. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is Lord Sri Krishna. So this is explained in Bhagavad Gita. And for today, this is enough. And if you guys want to read Bhagavad Gita, please go for it. And it's not necessary that you guys have to hear me only. If you have a good teacher, then you can go through them, or you can read the book by yourself. And if you like the way I am explaining, you can watch my videos, so you can subscribe to me. And thank you. And tomorrow, let's see what we'll learn newly.